Hi, everyone. It's Stella Grisant. Happy Halloween. I'm so excited um, for today's Facebook Live because it's Halloween. It's a little spooky, and we're going to be talking about boundaries, which I think is scary for many of you. So, hey, Amy, I'm so happy you're here. Hey, Helena. So we're going to be talking about boundaries. And a few Facebook Lives ago, which you guys can go back and watch, they're just like 10 to 15 minutes. We first started off about talking about how do you figure out what you really want. And the main idea there, hey, Terry, the main idea was that to figure out what you really want, you have to ask yourself, how do I want to be? Get clear on that vision of how do I want to be, not just what do I want to achieve. So we talked about that. And then I gave you the vision generator exercise, which if you haven't downloaded it, it's free, workhappinessmethod.com/vision. You can get that if you need help creating your vision and your unique definition of success to help you figure out what you want. So, hey, Kim. So, we talked about how to figure out what you want by first asking yourself, how do I want to be? What does it look like when I'm my most alive and engaged self? And then we talked about how our values are the guardrails that keep our decision making and our behaviors and our actions in line in the right lane so that we can move towards that vision of how we want to be. And so, what I thought would be really nice to talk about today are boundaries. And we hear this word tossed around a lot, and a lot of people feel like they have boundary issues or maybe don't even realize they do. And so I want to talk about what is a boundary and then how do you create healthy boundaries so that you can just easily be your best self, because that's what boundaries are. They're just simply guideposts to create conditions to make it easy for you to be your best self, because you can be your best self and you can force your way there and you can do it with struggle or you can do it with more ease. And usually boundaries will help you because they'll just create that line in the sand. So what are examples of boundaries? First of all, your values in and of themselves are examples of boundaries because they guide your decision making. But also, like, for example, if you choose to go to bed at a certain hour because you know that will help you wake up the next day feeling energized, that's a boundary. You choosing not to talk to someone, that's a boundary. Your like, for example, I'll give you some of my regular boundaries that I set up. So anytime I do a really big speaking event, I will block off the next day for no meetings and calls, because I know that in order for me to be my best self, I need time to recover, because as a ambivert, more on the introvert side, after giving a lot, I need to be quiet and restore. So if you're an introvert, which means that you just need some extra alone time and some quiet time to get your energy back, you should really be conscious of creating that space throughout the day, or be aware of when you're like at parties or at big social functions that you have time to just restore after that, because it's essential. So, also another boundary that I have is I don't book any calls or any meetings on Mondays, because usually my weekend is filled with family and friends and being out and about. And when Friday comes around, that's my biggest work day. So I'm just like going on a high. And then on Monday, I'm just like really not functioning. So I just made it easy for myself to just get back into the groove. So that's a boundary I created for myself. I mean, obviously I own my own business. I can make those rather easily. But so what I think when it comes to boundaries, the biggest challenge for many of you is just saying yes to everything, right? Or having a hard time saying no, especially when you're being asked to do more work, to volunteer for something, to go talk to someone on behalf of someone else. So, what we need to do in order to create healthy boundaries is first just get clear on that vision, get clear on our values, because that's going to help us decide where we need to put those boundaries. But if you want to think about in your life right now, what are those scenarios where you start to feel really drained? Or who is it in your life that you feel kind of sucks the energy out of you? Or what are the types of activities that you find really draining? So just thinking about those in particular and just recognizing that maybe you have more choice than you think when it comes to saying yes to those things, or when it comes to just putting yourself in that position. So, does anybody resonate with this? Like, I'm still getting used to Facebook Live, so I want to check in with you guys. Like, does anybody here have any boundary issues? Like, you can you can't really raise your hand on Facebook Live, but you can send a comment. Is any of this resonating? Does anybody want to go in on their particular challenge? Because I am totally game for us doing that. Hi, Sienna. Hi, Anya. Okay, so let's talk about, I think this one would be really good. How do you say no when someone's asking you to do something unreasonable or that you really don't want to do, but maybe you normally do it because you feel obligated to or you feel like you should, but it really just drains you and it doesn't set you up to be your best self. So if you find that you're a people pleaser, which, totally I am. And usually it goes hand in hand. Like you like making people feel happy, which is not a bad thing. But sometimes you will put yourself last as a result of that. So if you find that you're a people pleaser, hey, Melody, and you say yes too much, or if you find that you're just a non-confrontational person, you don't like conflict, so you'd rather not say anything and just get it over with, then this is really good for you. So what I find happens, especially for people pleasers and those who are non-confrontational, is that when you get a request spontaneously or out of the blue, you say yes because you're not prepared. You don't have the wherewithal to say no. You don't know how to say no. It's not comfortable, so it's just easier to say yes. So here's my tips for how to not say yes right away. So let's say someone comes up to you and it's already 5 o'clock and they're saying, hey, I would really love if you could pull these numbers for a big meeting that's happening on Friday. So here's what you want to say. The first thing you want to do is acknowledge this person who's come to you for help and acknowledge that they probably see this as an important event. So what I like to say, I like to mirror what a person is saying to me. So really repeating their words. So, oh, okay, so you need these numbers pulled for a report tomorrow, or for a report on Friday, because it's important. Tell me a little bit more about what's driving this deadline. So you can ask in the moment, what's driving this, or why is this important? Help me understand. If that's tough for you to do in the moment, you could just say like, hey, I hear you. This is important. This is due on Friday. And then what you can say is, I'm in the middle of a few things, or I'm just wrapping up. Let me take some time to just consider everything else that's going on so I can make sure I can give you 100%, or so that I can make sure I'm totally available and present for you, or so that I can make sure I can give you my best effort, whatever feels right for you. And then you fill in the time that's appropriate. So if they need the report on Friday, get back to them tomorrow morning. Or if they need it tomorrow, then say, hey, can I just have 5 minutes? I need to kind of recalibrate and understand everything else that's going on. Basically, what you want to do is buy yourself some time. Because if your automatic instinct That's redundant. If your instinct is just to say yes, you need to break that pattern. You need to break that automated, highway to saying yes and just create some space for you to think. And so 5 minutes, one day, a few days, you think about it and you come up with clarifying questions. So that it could be like, tell me what's driving this. Tell me why this is important. Help me understand, why am I the best person to do this? Or have you talked to Amy? So you want to ask clarifying questions to understand more, because maybe in the moment you're caught off guard and you don't have those answers. And you also want to be prepared with, is this doable? And if it's not doable for me, if it's going to compromise my well-being or compromise my values, or it's just I'm not the best person for it, you want to be prepared with some alternative solutions like, hey, you should talk to Amy about this, or I'm happy to work on this even though it's outside my scope, but I have all these other priorities. Why don't you sit down with me and help me reassess and reprioritize? Because in order for me to do this well, I'm going to have to put some things on the back burner. So that's how, if you find you're a people pleaser, if you find you have a tough time saying no and setting boundaries with your boss, your husband, your kids, or whatever, you just want to create some space for you to not say yes right away. I hope that was helpful. What do you guys think? Any specific issues that you're dealing with that you kind of want to talk through or figure out what to say? Hey, Ty. So, one of the things that I teach a whole course on how to set boundaries in the Work Happiness Method. And the Work Happiness Method is my 8-week virtual coaching program where each week you get a video training that you can watch anytime, and then you hop on a group coaching call with me. And basically, I created this program for you if you're feeling stuck, if you're not sure what to do next, if you're feeling miserable and you're having a hard time waking up, getting to work, if you feel like you're just not being your best and you're not actualizing all that talent that you have. So I definitely check it out if you feel like you need more support. Maybe you've read the books, you've talked to your friends, you've talked to your mentors, but it's not enough because you're busy and you have a lot going on, and it's hard work to figure your way out through this. It's like a job in and of itself. So that's why I always recommend working with a coach. I have a coach. Sometimes I have two at a time because it's hard to do this on your own. Like we talked about a few days ago, our mind has a natural negativity bias. Our mind is designed to focus on whatever is bad, wrong, or threatening. And so that clouds our judgment. It clouds our sense of possibility, and it gets in our way. And so it's helpful to have someone to ask you the tough questions, to remind you of what your heart is saying, to help you hear yourself better and not just pay attention to the fear. So definitely check out the Work Happiness Method if that is resonating with you. I'm just typing it in there. And I'm bringing this up now, and I'm doing this series of Facebook Lives. One, I'm kind of loving it. I kind of want to do this on the regular. But two, also because on Friday, that's the last day where you can get $200 off, and I'm loading it up with a bunch of bonuses, such as how to ask for the respect and recognition you deserve. That's a bonus training. How to ask for more money. That's a bonus training that I just added. How to deal with toxic coworkers. That's another bonus training I just added. So it's like $7,000 worth of value in total. And right now you can get the program for $997. So if you are looking for some coaching and you're ready for things to shift, you're ready to wake up excited and energized for your day, you're ready to be flourishing and to be activated and feel engaged, and you would like some support, I highly recommend it. And what should we talk about tomorrow? Do you guys have any suggestions for what you would like me to address in tomorrow's Facebook Live? Oh, I didn't see Amy's Comment. Amy said, I'm trying to break up with my financial planner, but I haven't done so, avoiding it for months because I want to avoid the confrontation. I am ghosting him, but he keeps leaving me voicemails. Ooh, that's a good one. Let's talk about that, Amy. So how long have you been with this financial planner? I don't know if Facebook Live will like reply fast enough. So for Amy, she's trying to break up with her financial planner. I would always start with appreciation and really reflecting on how he has helped you or she has helped you over the years, because I'm sure they've been of service in many ways and you can come up with those ways. You've been together 4 years. Okay, so has this financial planner done anything that's wrong, or have they missed expectations? And so if they have, I'm just gonna, because this is slow Facebook Live, I'm just gonna, I would say if they haven't met your expectations, I would just state how and just really stick to the specific ways that, or some specific things that have happened that have maybe rubbed you the wrong way. So, for example, they didn't file something for you, or we have political differences. Ooh, okay, that's that. I could see why that's getting more difficult. So this is, oh my God, Amy, this is really good. Okay, so this is what we're going to talk about in more detail in tomorrow's Facebook Live, is how to master difficult conversations. Because this is not about a boundary. This is about just saying, this is about letting him know and saying goodbye. But just to give you a preview, what I would do is start with appreciation, and I would say, have his comments been like live on social media, or um, you're just very uncomfortable dealing with him? Great. Okay, so I would say something like, it's become apparent to me that we share different values, and it's really important for me to have a team that a supportive team that's in alignment with the same values I have, especially when it comes to financial planning. Um, and I'm just reading her comment in person with me. I don't. Okay, so what I would say is thank you so much for your service. You have been excellent. Your work is excellent. I really appreciate it. But one of the things that's most important to me is that I work with teams that have similar values as I do. And I know we have a difference of opinion when it comes to what's happening in the political sphere. And right now, because it's so sensitive for me and I'm in it, I'm so charged by it. I don't feel comfortable talking about politics with you in person, it makes it very difficult for me to do business with you. And this is very difficult, I have to say, just having this conversation with you anyway. And it's awkward, it's uncomfortable, and I've been conflicted about it. But I think right now what I'd like to do is pause our working arrangement, and I need to take a break from our partnership. And I will let just time tell what I need to do next. And I sincerely thank you for all your work. It's just right now, this is a really sensitive area for me. How does that sound? So you just inspired me, Amy. And like, I'm going to simmer on this too. But how about tomorrow, you guys? We talk about how to master difficult conversations. And we'll talk about how do you have these difficult dialogues. So, with that said, thank you guys for joining. Hey, Brian, so nice to see you here. Hey, Yulia. Um, oh, last thing, Amy's saying, can I tell him this in an email? Let me think about that. I know that would be easier for you. Uh, let's think about that. And you're also on the Work Happiness Method Facebook group, so maybe we can continue the dialogue there. You should post that there too. All right, you guys, will have a wonderful night. Tomorrow, 8:30 Eastern Time. I'll give you some step-by-step guidance on how to master difficult conversations. Thank you, Amy, for inspiring that topic for tomorrow. And if you guys have any ideas or if you have any issues coming up at work that you need help sorting through, just like message me and we can do a Facebook Live on it. All right, you guys, have a wonderful night and happy Halloween.